Everybody, we are back. It is Tape Don't Lie, your favorite Raiders podcast, breakdowns, whatever you want to call it. We're back. It is Draft First Pro Scout, but we got to switch up this week. We got to switch up this week for Draft First Pro Scout. But we're back, guys. So make sure you hit the subscribe button if you haven't. If you it's your first time here, you're looking through YouTube. You saw Tape Don't Lie. You saw our faces on it and you want to hit the subscribe button, go ahead, check us out. Hit the subscribe button, please. Hit the like button if you like it as well. Leave a comment, leave us some feedback. Also, make sure you follow us on Twitter. Follow me at the Mark John NFL. Follow BD at BD Williams 18. So make sure you guys follow us there. And like I said, once again, if this is your first time here, hit the subscribe button. Tell your friends about it so they can subscribe. Let's get it right. We're here for you guys for this whole offseason, breaking down draft picks, free agency, the needs for the Raiders. So we're putting in the work for you guys. Make sure you guys spread the word. You know what I'm saying? All right. So this week we're going with the position, that we all know is the most glaring need, because there's really no safeties besides Jonathan Abram on the roster right now. I saw Eric Harris is a free agent. I was like, oh, yeah. So yeah, it's a dying need. they need a safety. So in some way or form or fashion, they can't just go this offseason without getting a safety and bringing him in. So this is probably the most important position of need, in my opinion.
On the defense.
Yeah, on the defense for sure. So that's what we're giving you guys. We're all safeties today. We're going draft, scout, pro scout. We're switching it up though. BD is going to be the draft scout today. I'm going to be the pro scout today. We're switching it up. We're doing a little switch up on you guys. You know what I mean?
We just want to keep you guys on your toes, keep the engagement.
Yeah.
But honestly, Marcus was gracious enough to relinquish his status as the in-house draft scout.
Yeah.
Just because, I played safety in college. It's something I love to watch. So that's the only position that I was really watching this year. So thank you, sir, for indulging me.
No problem.
This time around, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, and I agree with you. Safety is a huge need. It was interesting. Interesting to me. I think most people knew this and figured this. I was a little on the fence with it myself, but when John Gruden he was doing an interview. Who interviewed him? It was like a couple weeks ago. Do you remember that?
Richard Sherman and Chris Collinsworth.
Yeah. That one. He talked about John Abram, and he talked about John Abram being the Derwin James, Cam Chancellor type in this defense, right? Yeah. I mean, that's like high praise. But anyways,
yes, it is.
So it sounds like from internal conversations, Jonathan Abram is going to be a box safety. I think that kind of confirms what everyone else thought. So a deep safety would be what the Raiders need, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say that majority of the guys that I'm going to break down for you are going to be deep safeties, but I'm going to do my top 5 safeties. I'm sorry, top 4 safeties, and then a 5th safety that I'm not as high on, that relative to the consensus draft community, how other people see this player. So I'll talk about why I'm not high on that guy. And then Marcus, you're going to take us through the free agents. So we'll see about that. I'm excited for that. I did miss breaking down, or the ease of breaking down NFL Game Pass in comparison to
compared to the 60-minute offensive game from a Big 12 game. Oh my god!
Oh my god! You can't even fast forward it through a thing. I just press Control Find and press the player's name that I want to see. Get some clips of him making a tackle or something like that. You can't even do that on this Google Drives that we have that have all these college all 22. It's just you have to really sit there and watch the entire game. You have to know the player's number. They change numbers from year to year. You know what I'm saying? So it is more difficult doing the draft scout, just from the time perspective that it takes to compile these clips. So let's jump into it. I'm gonna give you guys my top 5 or my top 4 safeties, and starting with the guy that a lot of people know that I've been really high on, Trevon Moehrig. He's my number 1 safety, TCU. And one of the reasons why he's my number 1 safety is his man coverage it's impeccable. It's flawless. He does a lot of things right. He matches the release of the receiver. It's called a leverage step, maintains his leverage, whether it's outside, inside leverage. He's got disciplined eyes, so he doesn't bite on double moves. He's physical at the top of the route, gets his hands on guys to reroute them. And then, he affects the catch point. He's got great instincts, great technique, affecting the catch point, raking the catch point, getting his hands in there, punching up, raking down. So there's a lot of great technique along with, just the things that you can't teach, like recovery, speed, and quickness that Trevon Moehrig has. The other reason why I'm really high on him is his transition. So let's talk about what are transitions for a defensive back. That means when you are in a back pedal and you need to break and go somewhere. Okay, so right here we see him planting and driving. Now let's just let's look closely at this. Okay, so his back foot he's planting with, and now he's gaining ground and he's driving off the front foot. That's a textbook break. That's what you want to see from guys. Okay, and he does this, and he's so good at it. Sometimes it looks like he's getting shot out of a cannon. You see him planting with the back foot, driving with the front foot, consistently in his game, consistently in his technique, and so he's very quick. Now, the one knock that you could say, and what prevents me from putting Trevon Moehrig into a class of guys like Mika Fitzpatrick and Derwin James and Jamal Adams that have come out in the past, is that his tackling is up and down. I think he's a willing tackler, but he lacks stopping power when he does, make that contact, and then sometimes, he'll take some iffy angles to the ball carrier. He's capable of getting the guy on the ground, but it's definitely not the biggest part of his game, which is why I think, he's going to be a high safety, a guy who can play some man coverage on third downs. So Trevon Moehrig, though, still my number one. Now, Richie Grant is my number two safety. Okay. Biggest thing or most fun thing about Richie Grant is his versatility. This is a guy who, if you go through his highlight reel, you're going to see him making plays everywhere. Whether it's in the box, filling against the run, okay, whether it's playing man coverage, okay. This guy makes plays everywhere on the field. I really, really like the versatility that Richie Grant brings. I think that he would be a guy who would complement Jonathan Abram really well. Here you see him making a play in the post, as a deep post safety, So this guy has a lot of different things that he can bring to a defense. I don't think that there is a scheme that he wouldn't be able to thrive in. And then also I think he has best in class hustle. Okay. He's a hustler. Okay. This is like a bananas play. This is probably my favorite play that I've seen a safety make this year. He had no business making this. And not only does he run the guy down, but he forces a fumble. I really wish that I saved this clip because I had a hard time finding it going through all those 60 minutes, but there was a clip of him like selling out on the goal line. I think he got knocked out of the game with it. Now, transitions are a problem for Richie Grant. This is really the only thing. You see him kind of double tap that plant foot before he drives. This is something that I consistently see for him, where he picks up his plant foot and puts it back down. You got to have cleaner transitions like that to make an impact in the NFL. You see kind of, that late transition kind of bite him right there. Now, Andre Cisco, this is my number three safety. Andre Cisco, best in class range for the safety position in this NFL draft, in my opinion. Now, range equals instincts plus transitions plus playing speed. Okay, you have to have all three of those to have range. Okay, it's not enough to just be fast. You got to have those other two. Okay, so let's look at this. So he's in the middle of the field, and I think he's probably the only guy in this class who can get from the middle of the field to the sideline on a go ball. Okay, and you see him, great transition, plants with the back foot, drives off that front foot. He gains ground, okay, when he's driving, right? Okay, and you see him get to the sideline there, even though the ball is thrown out of bounds. He was still in a position where if the ball is thrown inbounds, he can maybe make a play on that ball. Now, instincts isn't just sideline to sideline. It's also coming forward. You see him recognize the concept, recognize the drag, even though Lawrence isn't even looking that way. And you see him make a great transition, plant off the back foot, drive off the front foot, and then have the speed to get in there and make a pass breakup, okay? This is another great example of the range that he brings. So he's in the middle of the field, okay, great transition, okay? The anticipation to break on this, right? And make a fantastic flying interception, great ball skills, great example of ball skills. So Andre Cisco probably, is going to be high on some teams' boards because of this ability. And this is another example of just the instincts aspect of having great range. So he sees the RPO coming. He knows he's got to break on a slant route from either way, and he stays patient, waits for Lawrence to commit. Great transition and drive, gains ground with his feet first. And if the defensive lineman didn't bat that down, that probably would have been a pass breakup. Now, effort is really the glaring issue with me going through, especially his 2020 tape. The 2 games that he played in 2020, he was definitely making some business decisions here. This is just a really egregious example, but there's a lot. He just doesn't seem very interested in getting in on the run. You see him here kind of just be lackadaisical, let the guy run for a touchdown. It seems like, Cisco is really just content to let his teammates make a play. So I think that that's going to be something that might knock him on some team sports. Now, my number 4 safety is Hamsah Nasirildeen. He's probably not a guy that the Raiders are going to be after because they said Jonathan Abrams is going to be their box guy. But this guy, in the cover 3 scheme, he's got the best stopping power of any safety, bar none, in this class. When he hits a guy, people are flying, okay? He's got fantastic, fierce hitting ability. So that's something that I really like about Hamsah Nasirildeen from Florida State. The other thing I like about him too, just like Richie Grant, he's got great versatility. They used him everywhere, okay? They used him in all aspects of the game. You see him here. He's in the post. He's breaking on the ball in front of him, making a tackle. You're going to see him, line up in a linebacker type coverage here and come downhill and make a play. And shoot, you'll even see him play man coverage. And he was locking up tight ends at the Senior Bowl. Probably didn't do so hot against wide receivers, but I think that would be his role as a tight end eraser in the NFL. And he even got involved on blitz packages. So the one problem with Nasirildeen is the injury history. That's something that teams are going to have to take into consideration with him. He missed basically all of 2020 with an injury, so teams are going to look really closely at that. Some people have said, is he a linebacker? There's some other big safeties, Jaquiski Stevens, Talanoa Hufanga from USC. Jaquiski Stevens is from LSU. There's another guy from Auburn. I'm forgetting his name right now. Anyways, those guys are linebackers. Okay, Talanoa Hufanga, he does not have the transition ability to play defensive back in the NFL, in my opinion. And he's so good around the line of scrimmage, so good. Okay, the way he stacks blockers, sheds blockers is textbook. He's 6'1", 6'2", 215, 220 pounds. He's a linebacker. Same with Jaquiski Stevens. Whereas a guy like Hamsah Nasirildeen that we were just showing, he has the movement ability of a defensive back. And you even saw him, those other guys, it was tough to find examples of a guy like Talanoa Hufanga or Jaquiski Stevens making an impact play, actually playing safety, like deep, right? Whereas Nasirildeen, he has some tape of him, whether it's in single high, whether it's in cover 4, whether it's playing man coverage, actual defensive back techniques that he's being asked to play, of doing it and making an impact. So that's why I do think some people might think he's a linebacker, but I do think that he is a safety. And I think big cover 3 teams like the Raiders, but there's other teams out there that are, a big cover 3 team would really like that guy to be that box safety for him. And I think that he has a lot of upside.
Okay. Yeah. So, that was a great breakdown, bro. Especially looking at some of the players that you looked at, because, I got to watch all the guys that you looked at as well. And I kind of felt the same way about them. Because, Moehrig, which tripped me out is like, he wasn't really asked to tackle that much either. So like, it was like, you had to find instances where he was in a position to tackle a lot. I was digging for trying to find plays of him tackling, because like against Oklahoma, I don't think he had to come up and make one tackle. He's primarily playing his quarters coverage and, playing a man match and, make sure, whatever Gary Patterson wants him to do. And, they played that a lot. He wasn't really asked to come down and make tackles. So that's why it was interesting that you had that thought process about him. And then Cisco, we talked about that. He's such a freak, right? He's supposed to, rumored to be running a 4.3 and all these things. And, you see it in pass, when they're passing, But against the run, you just don't see it. Like you expect him to come downhill a little bit more and make some more hits and be more physical and make better tackles and do things like that. But you really don't see that. You really don't see that from him. But
yeah, I think it's when he wants to. I think he can. I think he can really pop someone. And there's going to be examples on his tape,
yeah,
but there's just as many examples of him kind of jogging, seeing like, okay, looking around, like which one of my teammates is going to get there first, and really, honestly, I like when I look at Richie Grant, and his problem is his footwork isn't clean. Okay, whereas Cisco's footwork is really clean, right?
yeah.
You can improve your footwork. Okay. Now, improving your mentality,
That's
that's something that I wouldn't gamble on, a guy
yeah,
being able to do that, and so that's why I think Richie Grant is my number 2. People can disagree with me, and we'll see where these guys end up getting drafted. I don't think it's as strong of a safety class as maybe the prior 3 or 4 years, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But I just think the way that Richie Grant plays, he leaves it all out on the field. He really goes for it. And so seeing that kind of football character, I have no, worries that he's going to clean up his footwork in the NFL.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm high on Richie Grant too, man. I think his tape is pretty clean, and just the effort. You know what I mean? Like, cause when you watch him, like that's the first thing you notice is that he's all over the field,
Yeah.
all over the field. You know what I mean? And then he probably had one of the best Super Bowls of any player out there. I mean, he went out the Senior Bowls. That's
Senior Bowl. Yeah.
Yes. One of the best Senior Bowls than anybody out there. He went out there and showed that he can guard corners. No, sorry, guard wide receivers. He could actually play corner if he really wanted to. You know what I mean? So like he's so much versatility with him too that I think that if the Raiders ended up grabbing him, man, he could be a big help. Like if let's say players went down, like you could move him around. Like you'd probably put him a nickel. If a nickel player went down, you could put him down there and have him playing nickel a little bit, and doing move him around a little bit with the versatility. So yeah, I really like
and like
Grant.
really, here's my thing. Playing deep safety and cover 3, you just have to get from one seam to the other. So I think Moehrig could do that. I think Richie Grant could do that, and obviously Cisco, like he's one of the rare guys that can actually get from sideline to from middle of the field to the sideline, right?
Mm-hmm.
So all those 3 guys could play high in a cover 3 scheme. Jonathan Abram, though, if they're playing cover 1, okay, which every team is going to have cover 1. Obviously, Gus Bradley is going to run a lot of cover 3, but you can't just run the same coverage all the time, right? If they get into cover 1 and Jonathan Abram is still that box safety, his tape in man coverage is not great. And I do actually think that he has the burst, right? And that phenomenal burst that he would have better range on the back end than maybe say like a guy like Richie Grant. But Richie Grant also can play the run and he can play man coverage. So if you get a guy like that now in cover 1, Richie Grant could play man on the tight end. Abram could be back in the post, and now you have complementary pieces at the safety position. So just from the way that Richie Grant played and his versatility, I do think that he would be a great match for the Raiders, probably for most teams, to be honest with you. Yeah, so I'm really high on that guy, but I do think that Richie Grant will complement the Raiders really well. Having 2 safeties like that back there who are going to go balls to the wall for 60 minutes of a game, leave it all out there, that would be fun to watch for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So you got somebody that you're not too high on.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably not going to come as much of a surprise for a lot of people who, pay attention to the draft. So Jevon Holland, I'll just get into it right now.
Okay.
So Jevon Holland, I was really expecting something when I was watching him. Okay, and I will, I'll give props where props are due. Okay, Jevon Holland is a really good run support player. Okay, so he's a second level defender, and he's got really good hitting ability, and even better than that is his instincts fitting the run are they're like linebacker-esque. This is one good example where he shoots the gap there, gets lower than the ball carrier, and low man wins, right? And this is also a great example for me because he's going to, this is not a run. This is like a perimeter screen, but he contacts this blocker with the near foot, near shoulder, and now he can bounce or spin to the ball carrier, and you see him spin off this guy. That's textbook technique for defeating blockers. That translates as a second level defender. Okay, so I will give him that. I really like him coming forward. Now, he's played nickel essentially at Oregon. Okay, he didn't play safety. He played nickel, and when you watch him in man coverage, he is not good in man coverage. He gives up his back too early. He gives up his cushion way too early. A lot of these should be touchdowns if the quarterback actually saw it in time. This is one example where he gets a little greedy, looks into the backfield before he closes the space, gives up a little double move down the sideline again. Not great quarterback play. A lot of these should have been touchdowns here, And then here's another example where he is getting physical. So I like that he's getting physical, but he ends up just shoving the receiver open and, gives up that space because he shoved him instead of running his feet through contact there. And the other thing that I really didn't like about him is his transitions. Okay, so here he is. And if you watch his feet, he's going to plant with this foot, but he needs to gain ground. But instead, he steps behind him instead of gaining ground, like we saw Cisco and Moehrig, do. That's something that he consistently had a problem with, where he'll step behind him instead of gaining that ground in transition. And I think that would hurt him if he is asked to play actual safety in the NFL. It's going to hurt his range because he's taking an extra step to break, right? And again, he played nickel. He didn't really actually play safety, so he's going to have to learn a new position in the NFL because he does not have the man skills to play man in the NFL. So he's not a nickel. Okay. Now I will give him. He's got great ball skills. Okay. He's got good instincts. I think that he would fit in like a cover 3 team where he can have vision on the quarterback. But at that point, if the Raiders are taking him, he's another box safety. They already have Jonathan Abram to be a box safety. So, it sounds like they want Jonathan Abram to be that guy. But yeah, if they take Holland, I don't think Holland has the range really to play, in the post. So you'd have 2 box safeties essentially if the Raiders took Jevon Holland. And I think that, just from the fact that he didn't actually play safety. He was a second level defender in Oregon, and his man coverage skills aren't great. I just see his transition to the NFL being tough because he's going to have to learn how to play actual safety. And those are coverages that he hasn't, put a lot of on tape. He hasn't. You don't see a lot of him playing cover 2. You don't see a lot of him playing, in the post, or playing quarters coverage, things like that. And probably most of his lowlights come when he is asked to do those things. You're right.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm not super high on Holland. I could be wrong, but I did watch him. The first time I watched him, I was like, this is what everyone was talking about. And then I forced myself to rewatch him again to see if I was missing something. Watched a couple of games that I hadn't seen before. Same takeaways. I just don't understand, or, I have a hard time figuring out what his fit will be in the NFL. Whereas someone like Andre Cisco is going to be like, okay, he's going to play deep safety. No question. Like, that's easy. Yeah. Hamsah Nasirildeen, he's going to play box safety in the NFL. You know what he's going to do. He did it in college already, whereas Holland played in a very college-specific defense where they have like a safety linebacker hybrid playing that nickel Sam spot, which is not the same as an NFL nickel. You have a corner at that spot in the NFL, right? So that was really the toughest part of that eval for me, to be honest with you.
Yeah, see, I mean, with Holland, it's like, you're right. It's like, where is he gonna play? I don't see it either. I didn't get it. I don't get it. But like, he's like, I think he's like number 2 for like Bucky Brooks.
He's up there for a lot of people, and which is why I was like, what am I missing? Like, I even went on Twitter and I said, can someone show me the first round tape that Jevon Holland has out there? And people even said there isn't any. So I mean, there's a lot of people that like him. Yeah. Look, he's not a nickel. He played nickel in college, but he's not a nickel in the NFL. Like, you saw the man coverage, you saw the bad transitions.
I know.
So what? How does that translate? Like, he would have to be in a very zone heavy scheme as a box safety early.
Yeah.
for him to have like success. So
Okay. All right. All right. So yeah, so that's the rookie breakdown. Good job there, BD. You know, you hit it, man. You hit it. I mean, I knew that was some complex, man. Hit the transitions, got the footwork, circling feet and stuff. All right. All right. So let's get into the free agents here. So let's get into the free agents, which is a pretty high class. I think this free agency class is pretty good.
Okay.
There's a lot of course, there's the premium guys, and then of course there's a lot of spot starters, and there's guys you could take chances on. So let's go ahead and check out some of these dudes here. So let's start with first with my team changing safeties. So these are the players that I would say if the Raiders pick these guys up, their defense and their back end would be completely different. It would be a different outlook they would help everybody around them and make everybody around them better. So these are my team chasing safeties. And I start with my boy, Marcus Williams from the Saints. I haven't heard any rumors about franchise tag for him, but this dude, we talk about range. Marcus Williams has range. He's got 13 interceptions. Since he's been in the league, he is everywhere, right? He's quick out of his transitions as well. Look at him. There's him making the big hit right there, dapping him up, backing up all his players, right? Backing up, another guy beat. Here comes Marcus Williams saving the day. Like he is a game changing safety, right? So that dude, he would come for the Raiders and help us out immediately. If the Raiders make a couple cuts, which they might, if they cut Trent Brown and Marcus Joyner, get rid of Marcus Mariota, they can have the money to pay somebody like Marcus Williams. And he's a deep safety. That's exactly what you want is Marcus Williams. And then you got my boy Anthony Harris, which I think he might be top 5 safety in the NFL. Like this tape is ridiculous. He's got some ridiculous tape. Like watch him break, sit right there, quick. Like you talk about transitions, guys. This is a textbook. This is like difference between NFL and college right here, man. Right? There's that he's breaking up this one. This one's crazy. This one's just trips me out because right. Look where Matthew Stafford is. Matthew Stafford thinks he has a touchdown. Because Anthony Harris, his back is turned to where Stafford is throwing this football. Watch him transition out of this one back, break it up.
Oh man,
it's crazy, right? And then here he is, right, coming down, making a tackle, forcing a fumble, big play. He's the top 5 safety, bro. Like that's what I'm saying. If the Raiders make some cuts, you got to throw that guy like 13 million, and they could change everything about it. But if they don't make any cuts and they want to go bargain shopping, we can hit some spot starters here. Some guys that if they end up drafting like a Richie Grant or a Cisco, someone like that, they could come and play. And then if they're bad, then we put the rookie in. If they're good, then they keep playing. We got like Tre Boston. So this is Tre Boston, right? Known player, played cover 3 in Gus Bradley's system. He was very good back in the day in 2017. Here's a couple clips. This is a really, really bad throw by Carr. I know Todd Downing didn't give him any help on this concept, but we're watching Tre Boston. Great play by Tre Boston there, right? So he is a spot starter. He can come in. He knows the system. He's going to play pretty decent. The guy that I would like as a spot starter if the Raiders want to go draft is Ricardo Allen, though. I'm really big on Ricardo Allen. I think he could come in and be solid. Really, really solid player. As you see here, him breaking it up. You can see him playing in the same system. He's played in the system as well. He's played under Dan Quinn his whole career, right? Here he is, quick right there, making a big play, quick out of his break. So Ricardo Allen is somebody I really, really like. I think he can come and make some plays. He's got a lot of career interceptions as well. He's got some ball skills. I think Ricardo Allen could come into the system and be a starter with somebody that, you could, give him a 1-year deal. You bring in somebody in behind him, like one of the rookies, and those guys can make some plays, right? And then we got some a depth signing, which is this is kind of me just being a little, watching some safeties and being like, hey, this guy's really, really good. And, if Jonathan Abram ends up getting hurt or something like that, we miss something that, or he just doesn't play well, right? We got somebody that could come in and, take his spot. Maybe not even say take his spot, but could help out. And that's Jaquiski Tartt from San Francisco 49ers. And this dude is a bona fide box safety who is very, very versatile as well. And you see him making plays in the backfield. You see him reading this play, look him coming around, right, making a big hit, 12-yard loss on the sweep, and then let's watch him play a little coverage, right? He's, comes down, they're doing a nickel blitz. He comes down, plays a little coverage in the slot, bam, right? Pass breakup. So that is somebody that could come in, and if Jonathan Abram got hurt, he's a cheap safety that could come in and take his place and actually play pretty well, in my opinion. And then you got the Gamble, which is my dude, who was a first round pick before and had crazy, we were talking about this, crazy comparisons to Ed Reed, which is my dude, Malik Hooker. All right. Malik Hooker, I think, can really, really, really either be a bust when they sign him, or he could become a Pro Bowler when they sign him. And that's kind of the gamble you got to take, right? Because this dude has range. And when I mean he has range, and he is still quick out of his breaks and his transitions. And this play is ridiculous. That's just, it's just nuts, right? He is to say he is range, and that's what all he was in college. And he is still a playmaker, right? He's a good tackler. He is still a good safety in the NFL. He just has injury issues and issues staying on the field. But when he's played pretty good. He has good tape when he plays, and I think that's somebody they could gamble on. And they might hit on him, right? And they might, he might keep getting injured, and then they might have somebody to draft behind him, right? So I think Malik Hooker is a really good fit too, as well, because what did he do? What did he play in college? He was in Ohio State. What did they play at Ohio State? Cover 3, right? He's a good fit too. He could come in and play deep safety, and he has the range to play sideline to sideline. And then that was his thing coming out of college. It's like sideline to sideline speed. Malik Hooker, that's what he has. He's a big hitter. He can tackle, and he's at great range. And I think he could be a really, really good player for the Raiders if they came in, and if he stayed healthy. Which, I don't know, everybody's gonna be like, well, John Gruden doesn't want somebody that's healthy. Well, I mean, that's the type of guy you might take a chance on. I mean, what is it? He probably get like 1 year, $3 million at this point. I mean, he's hurt. He's got bad injury history. He hasn't played a lot. That's somebody you could bring in that would be really cheap, that can pay off and be really good playing a different system. Because one thing about Malik Hooker, I mean, the Colts, they're a too high system, right? So it's a little different than what he played in college and what his exact fit might be. And I think that he might come in and be a better player in Las Vegas than he was in Indianapolis, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, Malik Hooker, that's a huge. I think it's low risk. The reward could be incredible for Malik Hooker, and if the Raiders, like, say they take a guy like Richie Grant, okay, in like second round or something, you get a guy like Malik Hooker. Now you have a contingency plan. Malik Hooker could be deep safety. Jonathan Abram could play in the box. Maybe Richie Grant could do either, depending on if one of those guys gets injured. So yeah, I would like that backfield a lot more than what we've seen in the past here. And one thing I'll just slightly disagree with you on.
Okay.
Jaquiski Tartt would be an upgrade over Abram. That guy's really good.
I know he would, but that's what I do want to say it.
That guy's really good. I don't know if he'll be as available as you're thinking. I think teams are gonna like that guy.
That was more of my luxury. That was like kind of me just throwing that out there. Maybe if Abram, he doesn't want to, play very well. He just play. Here comes Tartt. You know what I mean? And that was kind of my thing.
Jaquiski Tartt he's a really good player. He's a really good player. He's a box safety primarily. But yeah, I like that guy for sure.
Yeah, he has really good tape. I'm surprised that he's not. I don't know if the 49ers will let him go. That's probably one of the guys that I don't know how smart that would be for them to let them. But that's what I'm saying. But they let him go. Because to be honest, man, if the Raiders really, really, really wanted to upgrade this defense, they really could with grabbing a couple of these safeties. Like if they went and they said in free agency, we're going to grab some safeties, because there's some good players that I didn't even cover that. I mean, you have a chance to come in and play pretty well. But, like Marcus Williams, if he hits the market, I know he's going to be a top-notch safety. He's probably going to get 13, 14 million, right? But if the Raiders, they cut a couple guys to get some room, I mean, they could, work the cap. They could bring in a guy like Marcus Williams. I think Anthony Harris, though, is probably the guy that, you know, I would really want, because I know they're not going to franchise tag him again. He's hitting the market, and he didn't play as well as he did in 2019. 2019, he was incredible. This year, I mean, he's still really good, and he could play single high for sure. I have no doubt about it. I don't care what they did. I mean,
Yeah.
I was watching him. I was like, why didn't the Raiders trade for this guy? They should give him like a first round pick and a second round pick for this guy. I mean, Paul Gunther might still be here. He might still have a job if he wouldn't got Anthony Harris. So like, it's if they get him, or they go all out and try to pay some of these guys top money to bring in one of these good safeties, I think they could become a good defense overnight, in my opinion.
Yeah, I like Harris a lot.
Mm-hmm.
He's definitely a deep safety, and Raiders need some help on the back end. You can't have the Eric Harris's of the world being a free safety anymore. Yeah. I think the book has been out on that, but yeah, and then Marcus Williams, I think that those would be great fits. A couple things. You didn't even talk about Marcus May or John Johnson, so that's how deep this free agent safety class is this year.
And the reason I didn't, because they're gonna get those guys get franchise tag. I don't believe they're gonna.
Okay.
Yeah, like John Johnson, I don't think, maybe he might hit the market, but no, because that's what I tried. Like, I could have did Justice Simmons too, but I tried to I try to keep it real. Like Marcus May, he's already been rumored to get franchise tags, and since he's already been rumored to get a franchise tag, and I've seen it, I was like, okay, he's getting franchise tag. Robert Saleh's not dumb, so he probably came in there, was like, what are we doing here? Like, what are we doing? Right? He's probably like his best defensive player. He's not going to let him go. I was like, it'd be a key piece for him to build around and keep some guys around. Yeah. I mean, I was thinking about doing like, Bradley McDougal's out there, but those are all, he's a box safety. Those are box guys,
Right.
McDougal and some of the other guys I looked at Deron Harmon, but I was like, man, he's just too old. He's kind of slower out of his, he's nothing special. If they pick up Deron Harmon, I'm like, they're definitely drafting a deep guy if they got Deron Harmon or something like that. So, go ahead.
And the other thing I was going to say is, a few years ago, when I really started paying attention to like who was getting signed and these free agents, stuff like that, it was just always shocking to me, like safeties just stayed on the market so long, Yeah. And now with the salary cap going down, I think 13 million might be a little rich. We'll see, but I don't know if safeties are going to get paid, bro. Like, it's always like, remember when Tre Boston, like 2017, he had like 8 or 9 picks or something like that, and then no one signed him the next year.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on here? You feel me? So, safeties get lowballed a lot in free agency. It's like one of the most notorious positions for getting lowballed. And if you get a big contract, it's usually only the team that they were with originally.
Yeah.
Or have played really well in that system. It seems like teams just don't pay these guys, or like they're tight with the purse strings, if you will. So I think that'll be an interesting situation to monitor, especially with the salary cap predicted to be like much lower than it has been in the past. Mm-hmm. I do think that the Raiders would be able to get a guy for quite a bit lower than 13 million at the safety position,
And that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I think like Marcus Williams and like Anthony Harris, they're in play. I think those guys are in play, and if they can grab some of those guys, bro, I think they're gonna help that defense immediately, and it'll be a whole lot better, and they'll be able to play that system and play those coverages pretty easily. So,
right. Okay, yeah, great. That was awesome. I didn't. Ricardo Allen wasn't on my radar. I know about the player, but I didn't realize that he was a free agent. So awesome.
Yeah, he just got cut.
Mark there. Oh, he got cut?
He got cut like the day that I was going to pick.
Oh, okay.
So he got cut. And but that's another player that I was like, man, he would be solid though. He wouldn't be great. You know what I mean? Like, he wouldn't be like a game changer, but he could be a solid spot starter. So if they drafted somebody, he can come in. He would play pretty good. You know what I mean? Like, he'd be better than any safety they had besides Jonathan Abram last year. I mean, I would say he's better than Jonathan Abram right now. So,
Yeah, I think it just goes to show like there's a lot of options in the safety class, even without like the top guys like Justin Simmons and Marcus May probably not hitting the open market.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of good options there,
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. All right. So so safety position, it's definitely a huge need. It's something that the Raiders have been struggling with.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it had to do with all the checks and alerts and things like that were required of the safeties in Paul Guenther's scheme. So I just think that Gus Bradley having, for NFL wise, it's still a complicated scheme. Like you or I couldn't go out there and be like, okay, I got this down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like in comparison to like Paul Guenther's scheme, Gus Bradley's scheme is going to be simpler. And it's going to have a lot less, communication that's necessary to get everyone in the right place. So I do think that regardless, the safety, even if they get a bargain basement safety and they, get like a 4th or 5th round safety or something like that in the draft, it will still be better than what we've seen in the past,
Yeah.
So yeah.
And I agree with that because it's just true. Because I mentioned to you, just watching Anthony Harris run around and try to make up for all those rookie corners being confused in Mike Zimmer's system, which is basically Paul Guenther's system, was interesting because he was close a lot of the times, but he was trying out. He was out there making up for their mistakes, trying to do that because he was good in the system and he was in it for like I think 3 or 4 years before he even got like really good at it.
Exactly.
And he was out there, fixing for mistakes. So a lot of the Raiders' defensive problem is that we're realizing, guys, was Paul Guenther. I think we're gonna find that out too.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Right. I mean, because Mike Zimmer's defenses haven't been good for like the last like 2-3 years. So I mean, and he originated that scheme, so it's come and gone in the NFL. That's the biggest thing. The cover 3 scheme, I think that it is a little, maybe a little dated, but the benefit is players are able to play fast, stay within, kind of like the prototype of what they should be doing and what they do well, and not have to do like 5 different things. So that's going to benefit these guys, even if, the best offenses know how to attack it. It's going to come down to, is your guy going to beat my guy? You know what I'm saying? So like that's what it's going to come down to. So I'm excited about seeing what Gus Bradley's going to do.
Yeah.
All right, so I got another thing for all the people who are Twitter GMs, social media GMs. If you just like talking about it and trying to figure it out, okay. I put some of my expertise in spreadsheets to use, and I created a free agency game or a salary cap game. Okay, so here's what you got to do. I'm going to throw up our Tape Don't Lie email address up on the screen here. Email us if you want a copy of it. Okay, I'm going to send you, or I share with you, a read-only copy. Okay, from the Tape Don't Lie email account, Gmail account. And then what you're going to need to do is you need to make your own copy. Okay. And then once you make your own copy, then you can go through there and edit everything. I was trying to figure out a way to get it up like on a website that we could host, but I talked to some web developers, and basically it would be a much longer process. And by the time we got it done, free agency would already be in full swing. So I'll try next year. I'll try a little earlier next year. I actually saw, I can't even find the tweet, but some other team's, fan base put one together for their team. So that's what gave me the idea. They have it hosted somehow. So I got to find the tweet and maybe get in contact with them to figure out how they did it.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, if you're interested, if you want to do it, go ahead and, hit us up on the Tape Don't Lie Gmail account. We'll share it with you, and you can go through the salary cap game. That would just be some fun for the next 4 weeks before the free agency hits, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. So that's about all I got. Any last parting thoughts? Anything else?
No, man. Trying to think if is there any other Raider news? Not really. Everything's pretty. The car trade kind of went and gone. That kind of got shut down real quick. Popped up. There came an article. Week later, it was gone. So that was kind of showed that I don't know where that came from. And now, I mean, now Mariota is the one who might get traded, which is interesting. Which tells me like that's why I'm talking about like, hey, they dump some money, they can get one of these guys, man. So let's see what happens with that. But really nothing going on, man, except the draft.
Yeah. Draft is like the that's the thing that we're all on right now, obviously. Mm-hmm. But stay tuned, because as soon as any kind of announcements in the coming weeks happen in regard to free agents, we'll definitely break down those guys' tape.
Wait. David Irving got signed.
David Irving got signed. Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. That was a big one.
Re-signed, yeah. So that's cool too, because we talked about this before with kind of like the prototype that Gus Bradley likes at defensive tackle is that longer pass rushing defensive tackle, maybe who's under 300 pounds, and that's David Irving, right? He's like 6'7", 295-pound defensive tackle, right? So that's like the Jerry Tillery that he had, Malik Jackson, and
who just got
Jacksonville. Cut? So right. So we'll see. But yeah, David Irving definitely, like, that's the prototype that Gus Bradley likes, even if he's not great against the run. He prefers these guys to get into the backfield and create some chaos. So that works well.
Just saying, Malik Jackson just got cut, man. There's some interesting cuts happening. I don't know.
Well, we'll see what the Raiders can afford. You're gonna have to. They're gonna have to cut Trent Brown, get rid of Marcus Mariota's contract, get rid of LaMarcus Joyner's contract. That's like $30 million right there. It's just sitting on the books. So they got to figure that out first.
We'll see, man. We'll see how they get through this offseason. It'll be interesting.
Yeah.
All right, man. So we appreciate you guys listening, checking us out. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, please. Hit the subscribe button. Keep following us. We're giving you guys this draft content. We're going through. We're probably gonna hit. I think we're gonna hit edge next. Probably. We know we need an edge, right? Or do we need an edge? Or are they gonna take an edge? Do they believe in Max? We don't know. Stay tuned, guys. That's why you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at @TheMarkJohnNFL, @BDWilliams18. Like I said, hit subscribe one more time. We are Tape Don't Lie. We'll see you guys later.
All right, I'll let you.